Hello, everybody. It's Mark Smith and Mr. Pauly with Family Tree Brand Life Coaches. And I'm at home in our new condo and I'm sort of chilling tonight. Um, I want to start by talking a little bit about the video I made last night about relapsing in your complex PTSD. Zara is right up in my face here. I need to turn this on to get your comments in. Hello. I can't see the comments until I turn this on. There it is. Okay, live chat. Kelly Wood is here, Music Love It, Kate Nadine, the usual suspects. She says, pretty background. Um, my lovely wife, hey Sarah, hey Diana. Um, Hi Ruth Ann. Soren, what's up? So, my lovely wife sent me off for a week so that she could remodel the home. And this is sort of what she came up with. Um, and it's I'm sort of learning how to get comfortable in it. Jesus is an alien ready to take over the planet. Okay, let's hide that. Okay. Where's Jackie, my moderator? Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Okay, maybe that will get rid of this person. Okay, so I want to talk about sort of the ups and downs of having complex PTSD, and that you suffer from uh, getting, you know, consumed and devoured by a narcissist. Um, Sarah's feed isn't connecting, but I think it's working. Hey, Andy. So, um, so before we start, be ready to check in uh, because we're going to do check ins tonight. And my check in is going to be a little bit longer because I want to sort of comment on the ups and downs of the recovery process. Um, so, um, so, but be prepared to check in a little bit. When you have complex PTSD, you don't have bipolar disorder, but you do have a lot of ups and downs. Um, so I want to go through mine just for a little bit. So Sunday was a really bad day for me. It was really missing Renda and feeling sad, and a lot of my PTSD symptoms had come back. And a friend of mine came over, and he's a massage therapist. He was going to give me a massage, but we ended up watching football. But he gave me these wonderful hugs. Hey, Sumit. Um, he gave me these wonderful hugs. It just led to just a lot of tearfulness, little boy tearfulness coming out. So, uh, Jilligan, Mr. Pauly's chilling by the fire. I thought that you guys would uh, get some enjoyment after, you know, look at, looking at Mr. Pauly because you haven't seen him for a while. So, um, so Sunday was sort of rock bottom, and then What we're supposed to do when we have complex PTSD is we get to work doing our self-care program. And the self-care, there's Carrie O. Hello. Um, I call it making your home a treatment center spa, a healing treatment center spa um, dojo. There's Jackie. Hey, Jackie, keep an eye on goofy comments tonight. Uh, yeah, she is a good decorator, way better than me. So I still miss my lovely wife. Um, it's Tuesday night, and I don't get to see her till Friday at 2 p.m. And I'm counting the seconds. I really am. I just have missed her so much. So, um, by making your home and your community your recovery dojo, you really don't have to spend a lot of money. I have a client who she was just in horrific narcissistic abuse, and what she did was she joined a yoga um, studio, and for a low price, she could go to yoga classes every day, and she goes to yoga classes every single day. And even on Christmas Day, she went to yoga classes, and it's been her salvation. And then she started to make friends. There's become her Cheers bar, but it didn't cost her very much money. Um, when I was in St. Joe, Michigan, I turned St. Joe, Michigan into my treatment center on a shoestring budget. And I went to this spa, and it cost me like, I don't know, $150 a month when I was there. And there were all these treatments that were free, when you pay the $150. And I would go every day, and I would get rid of my clothes and put on a robe. And they had these cute little socks you could put on, and you start by drinking tea and getting a foot massage with this little machine that would massage your feet. And part of, um, I probably won't have a dinner prepared, but maybe I should. I was going to get flowers. Um, but part of recovering from complex PTSD is learning to pamper yourself. So, um, this is a comment from Marlene. Hi, Mark. You've helped me since you were terribly hurt. Thank you. Happy for your happiness, and now mine too. He was also hurt terribly a narcissistic, by a narcissist. Relapse is real. Thank you. You're most welcome. God bless you. So, Brenda will be back 2 o'clock on Friday. I just can't wait to see her. I love her so much. Um, so what I did and I put this in the video, what I did on Monday to turn my whole situation around was I have this massage bed where you lay on it and it gives you a pretty good massage. And I did my meditation with Bella Ruth Napperstack, where I did affirmations, and I did a guided meditation, and cried and cried and cried. And after about a half an hour, I felt so much better. Sunday morning, I played basketball, so I got some exercise. So when I got up on Monday, I got in. We don't have a hot tub, but we do have a nice jacuzzi tub in the bathroom. So I spent some time in there, and so I was just spending time calming down the central nervous system and just pampering myself. And then I'm sorry, you're just buffering, Sarah. You're one of our most important people. Um, so anything you can do to pamper yourself. I swear to God, I'd go in this spa that cost me almost nothing. I put on a cotton robe and a pair of little footies and drank a cup of tea. I felt like the king of the world. It really did. It really did help. I'm glad that the fire is calming to you. So, um, so Monday, I also listened to a video about brain science and vitamins, and I went to GNC and I sort of loaded up on some vitamins. Um, this is Catherine. She says, "Hello, Mark. This is my second time commenting on the show. It's been a while since the first time, so I may not be as familiar. I watch your videos religiously. Amazing content, Mark. Thank you." Hey, somebody made a comment that they haven't been watching my videos lately because they've seemed sort of saccharine. And what she meant by that, I think, was sort of maybe not raw, maybe not powerful. On these live streams, we do a lot of humor. And I sort of agreed with her. And I thought the video last week, the live stream last week was magical. And I thought the video yesterday packed a wallop because when you share from your pain and you share from your heart, that's when um, that's when you really help people. So I sort of agreed with the saccharine. I think what she meant was sort of sweet and sort of surfacey and sort of, it's not fake, it's just lacking in guttiness and rawness. And the last two, and I was sharing with my group supervision, I was like, I would rather not feel the pain and go ahead and have whatever videos that I can produce with all sincerity. Um, so Andy said, I hadn't noticed that they were saccharine, but they were more healed. Yeah, definitely more healed. But so getting back to the ups and downs in this process. So this morning I got up and I saw a therapist I've been seeing for a while. And part of the recovery process for narcissistic abuse and complex PTSD is, okay, Christina Moore, I was just introduced to the videos, just beginning. Hope one day I can heal. You can heal. Rise and shine, Mark. In order for a relationship to work, does each person need to identify with the other's projection? So let me write down the question about projection. I'm not really focusing on questions quite yet. I feel so relaxed here by the fire and by Mr. Polly tonight. I feel so peaceful. So, but you need safe places. If you guys haven't done these guided meditations by Bella Ruth Napperstack, I really recommend them. You can download them from iTunes, and they're brilliant. And she has some for PTSD, for panic attacks, for anxiety, for depression, so many different, for heartbreak. I don't think she has one specifically for narcissistic abuse. So I don't mean to be ignoring the comments, but I just wanted to share this, and we'll get back to more of a dialogue. But you have to have safe places. And in the guided meditation, she talked about, I feel safe. And here I am not feeling safe at all and feeling scared. But you're I'm holding my little tiger and I'm saying, I feel safe. I feel safe. And you sort of speak it into existence. So you also need safe places. Andy says sometimes sharing your pain can be re-triggering. That's true. I understand that. So one of my safe places, it's just this big IU hospital, about 3 minutes from my office, and they have this lovely cafe there, and it's just cheap, wonderful food. Usually go when it's quiet, and my therapist practices out of that hospital. My heart doctor does. My CPAP people do, and it's like this lobby. It looks like a five-star hotel, and it's almost like sacred ground. Do you guys have safe places that you can go to? I was just walking around, just sort of feeling nurtured by the environment. So the meal was had some brisket. It was killer, and it was so good. And then another one of my safe places, oddly enough, is yeah, I do have sleep apnea that I suffer from. I have to use a CPAP machine. Um, it's called the Market District, and it's this high-end Giant Eagle grocery store. Uh, Soren says his safe place is the refrigerator when there's bacon in it. Um, so, but this Market District opened, and I'd been traumatized by pharmacies, and I went to the pharmacy, and there was this lovely man named Anthony, and he knew my name, and he was so nice to me, and all the staff there were so nice to me, and I felt nurtured. And one of my safe places is just going to that pharmacy. So, um, with uh, uh, taking some vitamins that are sort of helpful for your brain, I've been taking omega-3 fish oil, which is supposed to be good for your brain, and B12 vitamin, and there was several more that I've been taking, and I'm telling you, I'm already feeling better. So it was like night and day between uh, the pain of Sunday and Monday, and then feeling great on Tuesday. But then we had our staff meeting, and that was a little bit draining, and and then I got sweaty, and I felt insecure, and I started to sweat, and sort of have a little panic. And what I realized is that I, it's so many simple things about recovery, is just being aware of your body. I think I was just dehydrated, frankly. So I drank a bottle of water, I drank a Coke, I came home, and I started into this bottle of water. This is a humongous bottle of water, and I've almost downed it. Another thing that I'm doing for my brain health is coconut oil. And my daughter, I'll get to this, my daughter Taylor, she came over and she suggested putting coconut oil in coffee, and it's amazing. It's good for your brain, and it's amazing. It's yummy. Mmm, really good. So I uh, filled up on some water, and I've had these concerns about my daughter Taylor, and she met me at the condo for dinner, and we had kale salad with avocados with wasabi coconut dressing. And my daughter was clear-minded. She wasn't obsessing. She was able to have a delightful conversation. We had a wonderful dinner. So Andy says that magnesium and zinc are good for depression. So, I guess I'm just feeling blessed that we have the power to heal ourselves, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. Some of these vitamins I just got off of Amazon.com. I didn't go to the finest places in the world. You might say, well, maybe you're not gonna, but I'm telling you, it's helping me. My brain feels so clear. So during the day, I had a list on Monday of calls to make. And you know, when you're depressed and you're sad and you're wimpy and you're shy, making one phone call is like an insurmountable task. Today, when my brain was firing on all cylinders, I made like 6 calls and I just took care of business. What do they call it? Adulting? Not adultering, but adulting. So I was like adulting. And so it was, and then of course, exercise. Exercise is huge, huge, huge. So, um, so I just wanted to share with you that I feel at home and uh, uh, like when I first came back and Brenda left, it was like somebody else's home, but now it feels like home. Okay, so we do have a question about projection. And then I do have a question from Alice from Denmark. So I want to answer those two. And then, yeah, Mr. Pauly knows how to chillax, let me tell you. And then we're going to commence to checking in. Okay. So let me, somebody asked, and I don't know who it was. They said in order for a couple to get better and communicate, do they both have to be aware of the other person's projection? This person's name is Good Looking Honky, and they said they've been going through this for 25 years and it can actually kill people. And it really can. I told you, my friend came over on Sunday when I was really down and gave me a hug. And what he didn't tell me was he had another friend who also was hurting, but he was hanging close to me and we were watching football and he brought me some hot wings and gave me some wonderful hugs. But he went to visit his other friend the next day, and his other friend had committed suicide. So, trauma, depression, complex PTSD, narcissistic abuse, it will kill you. There's Ginger. Ginger says, "Hi, Mark. Thank you for the PTSD video today. It was as if you made it just for me. It was extremely helpful. Glad your daughter is doing better. Thank you." Um, I just thought that if I'm struggling with relapse, maybe there's other people out there that struggle with relapse too. Okay, so the question was from Rise and Shine. In order for two people to be attending to each other, do they both need to identify with the other's projection? Um, I think what's helped Renda and I is doing imago dialogue. And what helps, first of all, is to know when you're projecting and to know what your projections are. That's the most important thing. And then, secondly, is to be aware when your partner's projecting, but don't take it personal. Don't get reactive. Do reflective listening. Do the imago dialogue. Reflect back. There's Dan. And it will build solid, safe, intimate communication. London Muso says, when you use the term relapse, what do you mean? I'm assuming you mean relapsing as a result of uh, uh, narcissistic abuse. Actually, London, I don't mean that because my relapse really wasn't caused by relapsing with a narcissist. I'm sure that happens. My first narcissistic abuse was from my mother, consisting mainly of horrific abandonment when I was an infant. Then I had a pretty nasty borderline from Evansville that, you know, uh, did some damage. And then, of course, the 6.5 year fiance. But my relapsing wasn't about that. My relapsing was about a lack of self care. And you guys can, if you want to learn more about the process of relapsing, watch the video that I made last night. I called it 50 Symptoms of Relapse Chronic Complex PTSD. So, if you're doing these things and you have these feelings, you've had a relapse. So, the symptoms of your complex PTSD can come back even if you don't get involved with your narcissist or with a new narcissist. Okay? In my case, the stress of moving, the stress of the holidays, and the difficulty with my daughter having bipolar disorder and being in the hospital added all that together, and it regressed me by quite a bit. Agnes says, serendipitously, I've been having a relapse lately. Just answered an unknown call and we spoke, and I'm depressed. So it can come in the form of interacting with people that aren't safe to interact with. So, rise and shine, I hope I answered your question. The important thing isn't knowing your partner's projections, it's knowing your own. And then when you're being projected upon, it's for you to not get defensive, mirror back to them what they've said. You don't have a dog in the hunt. You can hear, you don't have to set the record straight. And then it'll become pretty clear what's their stuff and what's your stuff. Okay. Soren said he lost most of the hearing in his right ear because his mother neglected an ear affection. That sucks. Andy, I didn't have much physical abuse in my childhood except some from my mom, but I had a stepdad. The only thing he ever did, he slapped me real hard on my right ear and he burst my eardrum. And I've had hearing problems and ear problems ever since then. Okay, so let me do the question from Alice and then we're gonna check in. So y'all be ready to check in, all right? Hi Mark, I have a question for the program in relation to something I heard in the previous program. Can a child that grows up in a healthy family with caring, loving, and present parents develop schizophrenia or any other severe personality disorder? Have a blessed day. So that's a good question. First of all, I don't think there are any families on the planet with two super caring, loving, present parents. If there are, there's not that many of them. So it's a pretty darn rare experience, okay? So, but can the child develop schizophrenia? They can, because I'm not a big believer in genetics and biologically caused illnesses, but seeing my daughter suffer through bipolar disorder, she was raised the way my other two kids are raised, and my other two kids are taking over the world. And the only difference is biology, unfortunately. So, yeah, you can be schizophrenic if you grew up in a healthy home, but you're not going to get a severe personality disorder. You're not going to become borderline. You're not going to become a narcissist, in my opinion. I think, but you can become bipolar or schizophrenic. So that's my answer to that. I forgot to bring cough drops, so I'm going to rest my voice because I don't really want to leave and go searching for cough drops and leave you with the fire. Maybe I will. Okay, now, peoples. Ellie says, church. We're having church. I like it that you guys are supporting each other. Sassy Little Frassy, which I love that name. Can you go into why abusers will decide that you're out to get them and believe this false reality? I struggle with allowing them to believe straight up lies about me. Well, they think that they're after you because that's their projection. If you ever are in a relationship with somebody who's always accusing you of cheating, it's because they're cheating. They're projecting onto you who they are. So they're out to get you, so they're projecting onto you that you're out to get them. And you struggle with allowing them to believe straight up lies. Who cares? Who cares? If you know who you are and you're solid in your sense of self, who cares what some batshit crazy narcissist thinks about you? All right? It don't matter. Jackie says, Ellie, you made it to the church on time. Okay, so who wants to check in first? Good looking honky, that's quite a name. I've been so depressed. I actually hallucinated. I just really encourage you to get all the help that you can, because the hallucinations means that your brain chemistry is really going into a bad place. And the main things you need to do is do yoga, do meditation, do exercise, eat well, don't eat sugar. Sugar is death. During the holidays, during my relapse, I was eating sugar. and I gained a bunch of weight and it made me crazy. So you may need medication, you may not, but Soren says having a high protein breakfast in the morning helps his depression. All right, so let me explain the check in process because I haven't seen anybody checking in. So, checking in is reach into your guts and pull out your heart and just put it out there. And this isn't group therapy. I'm not responsible for your mental health and keeping you sort of put together. If sharing too much will put you in a bad place, then don't. But we're open now for check-ins. So Agnes says sugar is like the narcissist, a sweet killer. London says refined sugar is shit. Okay. Okay, y'all. Are you going to check in anybody? Okay, checking in. London's checking in. We got a volunteer. Ooh, 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 ooh. Pick me. Um, London says, since I can remember, I've been ruminating 24/7, nonstop uh, uh, narcissistic abuse videos, feeling very hopeful, but quite distracted by the painful ruminating and the dissonance. London, we've all been there. How many of us haven't ruminated for weeks and months and watched these videos until our eyes and our ears bled and we can't get it off of our mind? And so I just really empathize with you and just keep doing healthy things, keep taking good care of yourself, and eventually your rumination will stop. Okay, the next check-in. Sassy little frassy. I'm anxious with racing thoughts about my abuser, and I feel like I'm still stuck in people-pleasing phase and holding tension in shoulders. The video I did last night, there was some term about muscles. I think she called it, I quoted somebody, muscle armoring, where the stress will pick the most vulnerable place in your body. It could be your neck. With sassafras, it's her shoulders. Music lover, I missed your check-in. I'm sorry. Let me back up. But, okay, so music lover says, I'm sad, depressed, weak, alone, scared, and feel physically helpless. God bless you. God, I know what that feels like. Fear is an awful thing. I hope that you have a music lover. I hope you have like a stuffed animal. And another of the meditations I do is based on the book Love Yourself as If Your Life Depended on It. And you just put on a piece of music and you hug your little stuffed animal and you just say, I love myself. As you breathe in and as you breathe out, you just say whatever comes to mind. and I was doing that meditation on Monday. Excuse me, and it really did help. So let me know if I miss any check-ins. I don't know if this is Ellie's check-in, but she said she got into a serious fight with a female slanderous, stalking nut job, and was hell. I feel worried but grounded. So, just to encourage you, Ellie, to try to examine any way that you might have been triggered into dancing with a crazy nut job and sort of examining that. Andy's check in. I'm feeling like I have relapsed a bit with complex PTSD and I need to get more done. I'm lacking motivation. Let's talk about that, Andy. In life, you got to get a lot of shit done. You got to make phone calls and pay taxes and be responsible. And I started my day, my fragile Monday at home, with a envelope stuffed into my door, and it was a nasty pill, and it said, "You are gonna be invoiced for the damage that you did to our elevator." And they didn't sign who it was. It was from the management. So yes, Andy, you need motivation. But to have motivation, you got to have a clear mind. Because when you have a clear mind, you can get stuff done. You can just boom, 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 you get it done. It's like easy. But when you have brain fog and you're depressed, just getting out of bed and putting one foot in front of another is pretty hard. Soren, my check-in, I'm feeling hopeful. I'm not jumping for joy, but I'm okay. Yay. I'm not just clapping for Soren because things are going good, where the rest of us were struggling, but I just want to applaud that, recovery does work. It doesn't work all the time because we relapse. But I salute Soren for being in a good place. London, checking in. Since I can remember, okay, I already read that one. You can double dip and check in twice if you want to. Okay, Christina Moore. Oh, sorry, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I preached on getting enough sleep while I was staying up too late and not sleeping. Christina Moore, I'm losing my mind. My ex broke it off and told me that he never loved me and he ghosted me. That's horrible. So, Christina, what I want you to do is to look back at your family of origin. I'm going to turn this little space heater on. Getting a little chilly. I want you to look back at your family of origin and examine who it was who abandoned you. Because this ex, the reason why he ghosted you and was so vicious and saying he never loved you is rooted in your own childhood abandonment issues. And ultimately, this experience for you can be redemptive. But we'll all pray for you. We're sending affirmation and support and love to you. Those of us who've been ghosted and had a grand finale where we were discarded It's got to be the most painful pain that there is. So God bless you. Hey, it's Bob London. I thought London that it was Bob London. Bob called me this week. I got to talk with Bob for just a little bit. Yeah, I thought that was you. Said because you said London. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not that I'm bored with your wonderful um, feedback. Um, Ginger says, I never quite understood the theory of projection. I had suspicions after witnessing my boyfriend flirt with women, and I asked him about it, and he said he was merely talking to his clients. So I don't know if that's projection. Projection would be him accusing you of flirting or being unfaithful. But just him flirting and being unfaithful isn't necessary projection. It's just him seeking his narcissistic supply. Christina says, I can't stop crying. I'm sick to my stomach. I can't get out of bed. I don't even care anymore. Christina, have you read Psychopath Free by Jackson Mackenzie? If you have not, you must read it. Get it on audio and listen to it for, 6 days straight, because that book really pieced it together for me. And then, Christina, gather yourself around a team of supportive people where your friends, 12-step meetings, therapists, psychiatrists, whoever you can gather, family members if they're safe, then gather them up and get the support that you need. Diana's got to go. She says, heart, love to us. Ellie's check in. I miss being loved by true hearts. I'm very blessed man because I'm loved by a woman with a true heart. And since I haven't really seen my wife in 2 weeks, it makes you so grateful. Having a true heart is, and being loved by that person is just priceless. So I like how you guys are giving each other good feedback and supporting Christina. Gilligan says, I'm the dumpster of my family of origin. London says, spring is on the way soon, though for all of you. So if you're somewhat cold, don't forget the sun is on the way, both weather-wise and sort of metaphorically. Ginger says, since I confronted him, does that mean I am projecting because I am cheating? No, that doesn't mean that at all. I've never cheated, so that is why I have never understood. No, confronting somebody about legitimate things, that's not projection. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, maybe it's a duck. you know? And so if you call them on their stuff, that's not projection. You know what? Enjoy the fireplace and enjoy Mr. Pauly. Maybe he'll tell the jokes. I need to go get some throat lozenges. I will be back in about 45 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves. Did Polly tell any jokes? I don't think that was 45 seconds. I have some throat lozenges. So let me pop one in and we'll get. There's more people that should check in, brothers and sisters in church today. So if you haven't checked in, then put your heart out there, and if you want to. We're not pressuring you to do so if you're not ready. Agnes, check in. I'm mad. I lied and I used bad words to the narc, and it's not being me. We all get mad. We all say bad words. Ellie says, I love myself. That's wonderful, wonderful. Gilligan says, life is busy. There's crap to do all day long. Isn't that the truth? It's part of why I miss my partner, is when I have my partner, my wife, Brenda, here. Uh, she probably does more than her fair share of all the crap that needs done, but I'm left doing all the crap. London says, Mark, I'm not sure if you come across a therapeutic technique called PSTEC, because I've had a moderate level of success with the tools it provides. It seems powerful. No, I haven't heard of that. So people should Google it and check it out. Agnes says, I have the hardest time with saying no and not feeling guilty for the human in the narcissist. I know that other people do it easily. Well, I don't know how to hate. It's like I know, I'd like to know how not to feel guilty. Well, it isn't about hate, it's about self love. And it's about creating healthy boundaries around yourself so that you don't get harmed and damaged. It isn't about hating somebody who's a narcissist. It's about protecting yourself because you deserve to be loved. Ginger says, Mark, the video you made about barn swallows might help Andy and everybody needing help understanding how the brain works or doesn't work after trauma. So yeah, I made this video about barn swallows. It was right after I'd been to on site where my lovely wife is, and um, there was a video we watched about brain science, and so look up barn swallows on our channel and you'll find that. London says the ruminating leads to thoughts of second guessing my reactive behavior to her abuse. I feel like I'm unable to reconcile the confusion. She constantly called me names and used the silent treatment. So, London, same thing for you. Try to get your focus off of her. It's not about her, it's about your family of origin. I got to tell you, I rarely ever think of the woman I was involved in that led to my shattering. And my recovery continues, but it's more based on healing family of origin work and on practicing self care and on being healthy in my current relationship. Kelly, oh, she's talking to music. Andy says ghosting is vicious. Sorry that happened to you, but it says a lot about the ghoster's psychology and about their own abandonment issues. Sideways says leaving the house can be difficult. In the beginning, I also felt guilty for doing things for myself. I felt like they might uh, uh, interfere with others. It's so confusing, but I meant I didn't feel entitled. So that's part of the shame. If you do finally do something wonderful and nice for yourself, then you end up feeling guilty about it and feeling like you have a sense of entitlement, and nothing could be further from the truth. Our problem isn't that we have a sense of entitlement. Our problem is that we don't love ourselves and we pick people with a horrible sense of entitlement. Ellie says emotional abuse hurts the body. Amen to that. London says, I don't want to be a victim. It was so hard to 1 minute see her hitting herself during a fight, and the next 2 years into a new guy. It's been soul crushing at times. So, Bob, my brother, just encourage you to shift your focus away from her. She really doesn't have any power over you. She didn't have the power to hurt you. The only reason she had the power to hurt you was the wounds of your childhood. And she's actually done you a favor. I had this infant inside of me that had gone undetected and unhealed for 55 years, but with the services of this particular vicious borderline, I got to heal all that pain. Not all of it, but I healed most of it. So it's turned out to be a blessing. London says Psychopath Free is an excellent resource manual for any of us who've been wounded by disordered partners or family. I love it that you guys are supporting each other. Bob says the narcissist disappeared from my thoughts most days while in that new relationship, but the ex came back full force now since the ghosting. Isn't that true? Uh, the ironic thing about this 6.5 year relationship with this fiance was I really wasn't all that into her. Um, I broke up with her on 3 occasions and put her out of my house and, dated other people. But when somebody ghosts you, and mine did so by going into a treatment center, and then I never saw her again except for her to say, never contact me. And given how fragile and suicidal I was, that was such a vicious way to discard a person. But she was a representative of my mother, and she acted like my mother. Jackie says, do you have any tips on not getting upset every time the narcissist tells you how they think your childhood was? They never hear you. Um, yeah, you just have too much investment in being heard. Um, if somebody is narcissistic and they're unable to hear you, why would you get upset when they don't hear you? You know, it's like there's this writer named Byron Katie, and in her writing, she teaches people to learn to love what is. And that's what gets us in trouble, folks, is we don't see what is. It isn't that these narcissists are so diabolical and clever. It's that we're low-hanging fruit. We're easily manipulated because of the wounds of our childhood. So, if we that's really what recovery is about, is seeing what's real. um, During my relapse between the move and the food addiction and the inability to deal with chaos, and moving is chaos. So I'd stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning putting stuff away. You do that too many nights in a row, and you're going to crush your spirit and your body and your mind. Um, so, uh, real solid recovery is, somebody in a comment said, it's like having dirty windows. You look out and you don't see what's out there. And so, this process of recovery is like cleaning the windows. Clean the windows off so we can see what's outside. Okay. Sassafras said Jackie had a great question. You guys are giving each other really good feedback. So, who is this? Jill, my divorce will be final on Friday. So that's good. Here's Jilligan's check-in, is just the constant feelings of being alone, unwanted, and unloved. Uh, in my video last night, I quoted somebody, and I forget the term about being alone. It was some powerful word, um, like It wasn't predominantly alone. It wasn't forever alone. It was like permanently alone or something like that. So I resonate with what you're saying. Constant feelings of being alone, being unwanted, and being unloved. So for the last 2 weeks, I've spent a lot of time alone. It's been really hard, but it makes you rely on God. It makes you reach out to community. And most importantly, it makes you rely on yourself. And I hate this term, but it applies. We put on our big boy pants and our big girl pants, and we we do what we have to do. Even if we feel alone, we have the courage to face the pain and move on. Kelly Wood checking in. I got out of control running my mouth. I don't mean to laugh at your check in, Kelly, but don't we all sometimes get out of control running our mouth? There were when Brenda and I were driving from South Carolina to Indiana with two dogs and two cats. We were fighting like cats and dogs. We were both running our mouths. It was quite awful. So it happens. Music Lover says, Mark, is the support group up? What do you mean by that, Music Lover? Explain what you mean. You can still check in. Still check in if you want to check in. Um, um, Bob says PSTEC stands for percussive suggestion technique. It's powerful for sure. A drink, I hope you all can check it out. A drink, I hope you all can check out. It honestly removed my worry about her from my mind for several months. Hey, whatever works, man. Leslie said if he had gotten worse with age, I could have dealt with it, but it became crazy making. Kate Nadine is checking in. I finally love me. I don't know if you guys remember a receiver for the 49ers and the Cowboys. What was that character's name? It's spacing out. See, my brain isn't quite as clear. You guys will know who it is. But he says, I loves me some me. um, and that's what we're trying to do. I try to love me some me. Kate Nadine at 61. Terrell Owens is who I'm talking about. Enough to not allow the smear campaign to drag me down. I feel good and I dance. Kate Nadine is dancing. And man, I tell you what, I had the smear campaign of smear campaigns of smear campaigns. Didn't bother me at all. Didn't lose a wink of sleep over it. You know, because I know who I was and I know what it did. So you just hold fast to your sense of self. Soren says self-love equals treating yourself as if you are a caregiver responsible for the care of someone else, which is you. So that's what I was doing. I blocked the day off. Um, I did the massage. I did the meditation. I soaked in the hot tub. And I also took time to uh, take care of business. So it was a day of self-care, and then I took the vitamins. So my brain, after a day of self-care, my brain and my heart were in much better condition, partially from the vitamins, partially from the meditation, partially from a good night of sleep, and partially from having a good long snotty cry, which just heals the spirit. London says, full disclosure, I became very attached to her looks. She's a very beautiful young woman. That has made it hard to walk away from, but that shouldn't be enough to hang on to the abusive nature. See, that I had three relationships with young, beautiful women, and the truth is, they were ugly. They were god awful ugly. Their bodies were sexy and attractive, but they were some of the ugliest people that ever walked on the planet. So beauty is only skin deep. When I married Renda, I had my former therapist read Proverbs 13, and it said something along the lines. It says, uh, looks are fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised. And if you are in recovery and you have a right heart, that's a form of fearing the Lord in a healthy way. Smearing doesn't have to hurt as bad. Ignore it. I had all these videos made about me. I didn't watch any of them. Didn't bother me. Soren says, on vacation, I have to save one day for crying because I feel guilty. The little boy in me thinks he doesn't deserve a vacation because he's so bad. But I still go on vacation and I still rise. That's one of my tattoos. If you can see it, it says, I still rise. Still I rise. Still I rise. Maya Angelou's amazing, mind-blowing poem. If you haven't ever listened to Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, you got to do that. Andy says, once you learn self-love, the ghosting isn't so bad. You know why? Because you're not alone, because you have you. You have you. I think why I'm feeling peace and blessing tonight, one is I connected with my daughter and had a great dinner. And two is the fireplace in Mr. Polly. And I'm not alone because this is sort of becoming my home. So I love my wife, but I don't miss her as much as I did on Sunday because it was coming from a sense of desperation. Jackie, do you believe that a narcissist can ever grow tired of the games and move on? I think that they get better offers. You know, my narcissist was, on one hand, would get financial support from me and narcissistic supply and addictive sex from the other narcissist. And eventually, as I pulled away, she sucked that poor bastard in. And God, I wish I knew how that story ended. I'm pretty sure it ends with both of them in just complete and utter freaking disaster. But who cares? So, London, crying, thinking of her hitting herself. It messed me up so much. And she told me, the therapist, that I pushed her. I loved her so deeply and never touched her once. Um, Bob, I just really want to encourage you to try to go a whole day without referencing her. Try to go the rest of our session tonight without referencing her. I don't even know what time it is. Let me look, turn around here and see what time it is. It's about 9:39, but we didn't really start. We started about a half an hour late, so we've got about 21 minutes or so. Here's Charlotte. She says, 5 months now, no contact after 28 years of marriage. How could I have been so stupid for so long? I'm so angry with myself, living for the time when I no longer love him. Well, I'm not sure that you love him. You're addicted to him and you need him, but I'm not sure that you really loved him because you didn't even know the guy because he was hiding the whole time. So, you weren't stupid, Charlotte. Here I was, a therapist of 25 years who'd written books on abandonment issues and shame and on affair recovery. And I was living with a stone cold sex addict narcissist. I didn't have a clue. Was I stupid? I wasn't stupid. I'm a very smart man. I was vulnerable because the wounded little boy in me was seeking mommy. And I would block out and blot out the truth about who she was. But you weren't stupid. You just were doing your work. Jackie wants to clarify for people what ghosting is. Ghosting is when your partner disappears and you never see or hear from them again. They're like a ghost that just vanishes. And I was ghosted viciously. But I got to tell you, if there would have been contact with her ongoing, it would have just stretched out the misery. And we probably would have ended up back together. And it seemed like she was being as cruel as she could be, but she did me a favor. Sideways says, I was discarded that way too. There was no cheating, just discard. Music Lover says, I have suicidal ideations every other day. And like I said, folks, narcissistic abuse, depression, complex PTSD will kill you. I wonder what the statistics are of suicides, how many of them are related to narcissistic abuse, how many are related to complex PTSD. I bet it's 75, 80%. So, Music Lover, hang in, learn to love yourself, do one or two things every day, positive. Today, my daughter and I cut up avocados, and it was really good for her recovery process. We ate those avocados, and it was really good for my recovery process. So it's the simple things that really matter. Um, Bob, London, you keep on ruminating, my brother. Um, what I had to come to was this person that was involved with me, she never did really love me. You know, it's like, um, uh, I could, I'd be, because I'm sure she was out having sex with many men, not just this one main one, but she never loved me. The love was my fantasy, my reincarnation of my mother. So at this point, um, I'm just so blessed. And Bob, you can be blessed. Do your work, cry your tears, um, do the healthy things that help your brain get better, give it time, and let the game come to you and continue to heal. And someday, perhaps somebody will come along who has a true heart, you know, like I forget who said that about a true heart. Bob says we're even lower than low hanging fruit. We're more like mushrooms to the narcissist. The mushrooms are on the ground, they just pick them, they don't even have to reach up. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Music Lover said the narcissist tried convincing me to kill myself. He even said, let's have a double suicide. Oh my God. Oh, Leslie said he kept a really big secret from me. I found out about it after he died. I wanted him alive again so I could make him wish he was dead. Hey, look, Raggedy the cat is joining us tonight, and she noticed Mr. Pauly chilling. Hey, Raggedy the cat, long time no hear from. She says you are never alone, you are never unloved, and you are never unwanted. Man, Raggedy's laying it down. Uh, Ginger Weatherly said the term was terminally alone. Yeah, that was it. Thank you, Ginger. Terminally alone. Says a lot, doesn't it? Raggedy, a lot of the problem is we lived our lives consumed with them, so it takes a while to get your footing. Amen. You know, Bob, since I've been out of relationship for 2 years and 9 months with this vampire, and now I have a woman who gives to me, um, in spite of my dirty windows that I can't see reality, in spite of my relapsing, in spite of my food addiction, in spite of my fear of feeling out of control, in spite of a spending addiction, in spite of some arrogance. Um, Overall, uh, life is so much better. You still have to battle your own demons, but at least you don't have a vampire stuck on your neck, sucking your blood out and exploiting you financially. Kelly says she's a wee bit mouthy at times. Jill again, I've been alone now for almost 15 years, but I do have my 2 dogs and 2 cats. Pets are awesome, says Raggedy the cat. Um, So I've been home with Peyton, who's I call Miss Priss, sort of an entitled kitty cat who thinks she owns the world. And then Raja, who's a bit of an orphan, but when Raja wants fed, she comes looking for you and she, "Meow, meow." And then Zara has all the energy in the world. We have a tennis court out here, and we put her in there and let her run around and chase balls. And then Mr. Polly, uh, I got to take Mr. Polly out more because he can't make. I came, left him 7 hours here today. I came home and he pee-peed on the carpet. So, Bob, London, you're obsessing, brother. Stop talking about her. Talk about Bob. Don't talk about her. Ghost her. Fuck her. What the F says, I feel like everybody is staring at me and knows what happened to me. Did you experience that? That was one of the things I put in as part of the relapse is a sense of stigma because I'm sort of known in Indianapolis as uh, a really good marriage counselor, but also by some people, I'm known as the really good marriage counselor who went batshit crazy. And in my family, among the three males, I'm known as the one who went crazy. So, yeah, it does feel like people know. But again, if you have a solid sense of yourself, you don't give a shit. I don't care what people think about me. Um, I just need to be true to myself. I need to be true to God. I need to be true to my family. I need to be true to my wife. I need to be true to my clients. I need to be true to my dog. And I don't care what nobody else says. Raggedy the cat said, Mark loved dancing in the rain in a wonderful recovering evening. Oh man, uh, that was at on site and it was really depressing. I was actually in the treatment center, not just the workshop. And it was July the 4th and everything was canceled. There were no fireworks and it was raining torrentially. And me and three other patients, we had music on real loud. We went out in the rain and we just got down. I was dancing with, there was a guy and two women, and the guy danced like Snoopy. And it was just hysterical. And it was one of the most joyous moments of my life, literally dancing in the rain in your darkest moment. Um, I had I had missed. I had spent the treatment center in my birthday in the treatment center. I had spent Father's Day in the treatment center, and I had spent July 4th in the treatment center. It was the best July 4th I ever had, dancing in the rain. Oh, so um, the Facebook support group, um, Renda's going to do that when she gets back because I've been adulting a lot and making a lot of phone calls, but I didn't get that done, and she said she would do it. So we're going to do it. We're going to have a ongoing Facebook support group that you guys can tap into 24/7, which I think will greatly enrich our group because you can send pictures and sayings and message each other, and we'll keep it safe. We'll keep the sharks and the narcs out, but she's going to do that. We're going to do that. I just have my plates sort of full this week. Bob, you're ruminating. You're talking about mine was an amazing dancer, very hot. So, Bob, you might as well face it, Bob. You're addicted to this narcissist. She is your cocaine. She is your methamphetamine. But it does remind me of a story. One time, I went dancing with my narcissist, and normally she put on like she was a country girl with a heart of gold. But we were dancing, and her mask came off, and she started dancing like it's like she became this sexiest woman in the room. Uh, I could sense every man in the place checking her out. And the dancing was just like pure sex. And the look in her face is like she was a whole nother person. And that was the sex addict and the narcissist. So just an interesting thing. But Bob, if I hear you mention her again, I'm going to come through these communication lines and give you a good talking to. Yeah, I guess there's trolls here, but Jackie has our back and she's getting rid of the trolls. So Ellie got smeared today, but she took the bait and got into the narquid. Don't take the bait. Let them smear all they want to. If you ignore them, you know what? They'll get bored and they go away. But if you react to them, you feed them. You feed their narcissistic supply by reacting to their smear campaigns. So ignore them and put your mind on things that are happy and pure and positive and about you. Jilligan, my check-in revolved around old feelings of abandonment. How can we deal with that when we have to see our family of origin all the time? Well, the guy that we draw a lot of our theory from is an old 1950s therapist named Murray Bowen, who came up with family systems. That's who Jerry Wise follows. And he says, if you want to heal your family of origin issues, go spend time with them. Now, I'm not saying that those of you who have to be no contact because your parents are friggin' monsters, you don't go spend time with them. But if your parent isn't a full-blown, Dracula narcissist and they're just, batshit crazy, normal, dysfunctional, and they abandoned you, as you develop your sense of self, you can interact with them and not be triggered. And that's sometimes some of the most powerful work that you can do. So we have 3 trolls trolling about. Oh well. Jackie has our back. Andy says the hot narcissists are the worst. You get hooked with the good sex. Be glad you figured her out and got fame. Mine was a pillar of the community, but an abuser behind closed doors. You know what? Looks and hot sex are greatly overrated. You know what? Sexy is a woman with a pure heart. You know what? Sexy is a woman who always tells the truth. You know what? Sexy is a woman who carries her own weight and doesn't underfunction. A woman who has solid character, who's filled with love and filled with empathy. That is some sexy stuff. Cindy says prayer is a weapon. It certainly is. Bob, you're killing me, Bob. He says, it's the best sex I've ever had, bar none. I wanted to avoid this sex because she was such a nasty soul. We had sex once on our last month-long vacation because she pulled silence. I said no. Dude, um, are you hearing me, Bob? Um, it's like you're talking about your cocaine. It's like you need to shift the focus of your recovery to Bob and off of, this person that you recruited into your life to help you to grow. And she didn't have the power to hurt you. Um, she only had the power that you granted her. Erica's Wacky World says it looks cozy. It's so cozy here tonight. That's Mr. Polly over there. So Bob says, okay, no more references from here on out for 24 hours. All right, I'm holding you to it, my brother. Gilligan says, being vulnerable and trusting does not make you stupid. They're the ones who are stupid. You know what? This woman, um, this is going to sound arrogant, but she could have had me. She could have had somebody with a pure heart, you know, who is impacting the world and who's a good provider. I'm 10 times the man that she was screwing around with. And she's stupid. I mean, Renda's life is going to be really blessed. I know that sounds arrogant, but I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying if you're in recovery and you have a good heart and you're an empath and you work hard and you're blessed, and I think that's why she stayed so long is she wanted to be good. She wanted to be righteous. She wanted to have a real life with a real family with real love, but it just weren't who she was. Sideways says, a lot of my journaling and ruminating with frustration and confusion. Whenever the feelings keep coming up, I keep writing. No matter what is going through my head, even if it's dark, I have to write. Keep on writing, Dan. You referenced her again, Bob. Oops. Oops. Raggedy the Cat, 5 decades of ghosting from my dad after he opened the door to the crouching women who triangulated and destroyed the relationship with my dad. I will tell Renda that she's a great decorator. I wish I could take the camera around the whole place. It's like a hotel or something or a museum. And most of this stuff she got at like thrift stores. She didn't spend a lot of money, but everything is new and beautiful, and she's a blessing. Ellie says reincarnation of our abusive parent is what trauma bonding is. Andy says narcissists will rage at you 1 minute, then hop all over you without resolving the argument. It's unhealthy, and I understand why you didn't want to be intimate. Bob, you're doing it again, man. Bob, you can't help yourself, brother. Music lover says, I love this group, and I love Mark, and I love Brenda, and we love you. Mushrooms are us. Reciprocity rocks. Yes, it does. Ginger, Mark, have you seen the Netflix series called The Keepers? I have not. I would recommend it and be interested in your thoughts. Tell me about The Keepers. Bob says, yes, I'm obsessed, that's for sure. Another Netflix series, The End of the Fucking World. It deals with childhood trauma. Uh, Jackie says, you ratted Mr. Pauly out. He just looked at you upset. When I told everybody he pee-peed on the carpet. Yep. So London is a songwriter, and he lives in Canada. And he grew up in foster homes and four group homes. Um, hey, Lance says, hey, dudes and dudettes. Hey, Mark. Hey, Lance. What's up? You know what? Going through all this pain really can be good material for songwriting. I'm sure you found out, Bob. Good material for songwriting. Tell a story on Mr. Pauly. Uh, the day I left my marriage on August the 31st of 2007, a marriage I never really should have left, to a wonderful woman. Um, the next day, I went out and got Mr. Pauly from St. Paul, Indiana, and he lived in a barn. And they went to get him, and he ran off. And they eventually collected him, and we brought him to our house, and he was so unhappy. Um, he went to a corner, and so here's his nose, and he stuck his nose like right in the corner. And it's like he was dissociating, and for probably 2 weeks, his nose was in the corner, and he pretended we weren't there. He didn't eat, but since then he became, my best little buddy. He's old and he can't jump on the bed, but I put him up on the bed so he can sleep with daddy, and he just wags his tail and he's so happy he gets to sleep with daddy. Music lover, I have another check in. I'm scared I won't find love because I have a feeding tube. You know, um, true love overcomes feeding tubes. When Renda met me, I was a 6 year old, a shattered, broken 6 year old who couldn't hardly do anything. So, but for some reason, she took an interest in me and just sort of started taking care of me, at some point, um, just as a friend. And um, uh, all y'all who are worried about not finding love, I just encourage you to not worry about love. Worry about self care, worry about loving yourself, build a community, build a team, and learn how to thrive. And when you're thriving, that'll be the time that, you know, uh, God will send you a partner. Kelly says, music, if someone is true, they will see past that. Bob says, Kate Nadine is the matchmaker for survivors of narcissistic abuse. You know, somebody could probably work out a niche, market for that, I would assume. It was such a pleasure slaying S, the greater narc. I'm very proud of it. You'll have to tell me that story. I don't know anything about that. Um, you have to fill me in on that. I just uh, she should be she who is not named. uh, Kate Nadine is the matchmaker. I didn't catch that. And Christina Moore says, I'm blonde anyway. So, okay. No matchmaking, uh, no cross dating. The vast majority of you, God bless you, probably aren't ready to date quite yet. You're either married to a narcissist or you're not ready to date. And some of you maybe have some solid recovery. Maybe you are ready to date, but let's not set up a matchmaking service right here on the show. Um, I will tell Renda thank you. Well, like Lance said, does it really matter what others think? It doesn't. Sideways, it's going to be hard not to think about your abuser in the beginning. Try taking deep breaths, write down your feelings, write for hours, and that'll help alleviate the panic. Bob, right there, you just got $1 million worth of feedback from Sideways on Highways. He says, it's going to be hard to not think about your abuser. Try taking deep breaths, write down your feelings, write for hours on end if it helps to alleviate the panic. I can't see the clock. It's 10:11. Okay, so we should sign off. So God bless everybody. We're getting more people and more people joining the show. It was good to see Raggedy the cat back in church. Um, uh, I really enjoyed tonight. Here's Noob Pond. He says, hi, Mark. Hi, Noob Pond. What's up? So, I just encourage you guys to really take loving care of yourself this week. Try to get enough sleep. Don't eat sugar. Do pampering, relaxing things. Journal, see a therapist. If you can afford it, do some EMDR therapy. Get massages, do meditation, exercise, and watch videos, and just build a community of people who have a like mind, who come together and support each other. Jackie says a beautiful soul is sexy. I'm a little bit behind on the comments, I guess. I've been running way behind. I missed a lot of comments. What about Bob? Oh my goodness. So, no religion, just church and support. Ginger says The Keepers is a documentary about the Catholic nun that was murdered in 1969 because she was allegedly going to report the Catholic priest who were sexually abusing thousands, hundreds of students. I just watched Spotlight this week on the airplane coming back from Myrtle Beach to Indianapolis. It was all about the story of the Boston Globe, busting all the pedophiles in the Catholic Church. So I suppose you guys can continue to chat back and forth. Soren says, everybody just chill. We're all gonna just heal together. So y'all can keep chatting back and forth, but for me to keep my recovery process of getting some sleep, I must go. Christina says, thanks for the chat, everyone. I appreciate. And she strung out like 15 hearts. So that's cool. Dan says, it's great hearing from everybody. Leslie said, night all. Kelly says, night all. Christina says, love you, Raggedy. Julianne says, thank you so much, Mark, and thank you, everybody. This group is awesome. You know what? This group is awesome. And I got to tell you, I'm enjoying it more and more all the time. So, great group. Feast on your recovery. Feast on zest with life. And just know that you're going to get better. I'm so far away, I can't reach the turn off button. So I'm going to have to slowly scooch my way. I'm sorry Paulie didn't put on more of a show than just looking up and giving me a dirty look when I ratted him out for pee-peeing on the carpet. So, hey, listen, take good care of yourselves. I love you guys. I don't know who's doing the show next week. It might be my wife. I think a brother needs a day off every once in a while. Or maybe we'll do it together. But God bless you all, and we'll see you soon.